I'm here to talk you through your lesson this week. This is going to be a bit of a research task, so I really hope you enjoy it. As always, you'll need a pen and a piece of paper. If you don't have that, you can always work on Microsoft Word or the equivalent. Can you please make sure this time, if you do have a printer, that you've had a go at printing out one of these slides on this PowerPoint? I will make sure that's saved for you. If you don't have a printer, there's another way to do it, so don't worry. So, first of all, I'd like you to just write on your piece of paper, leave the title space blank. You can come back to that. I want you to write down what you know about this country. Do you recognise this flag? If not, do you recognise this flag here? Or what about this one? I want you to write down what you know about this man and the leader of, as leader of this country. What are we going to be studying now? So I want you to take a minute to pause this video and write down everything you know about Korea, its current leader, and anything that might have happened to Korea in the past. And once you've taken that minute, we're going to go through that in a little more detail. So this is the next unit you'll be studying if you're back at school. We'll be looking at Korea, we'll be learning about the Korean War, we're learning about why it happened, what happened during the war, and then finally, what were the results of it. So there's still conflict between the two nations, and lots of people say there's World War III imminently going to happen. So we're going to try and look at that and work out whether that's the case, and that you're going to be researching that today. So your title then can be The Korean War, which happened from 1950 to 1953. Just 3 years, but it's world-changing 3 years. So we're going to have a look at that as our depth study for the second half of your paper 2. So this would be where in class you could write down any questions you have about Korea and we could answer them together. However, because we don't have that function as we're doing remote learning, I would like you to write down any questions you have. And your teacher, whether it's me, Mr. Drew, or Mr. Weir, will be able to answer them in their way, whether they're doing whole class feedback or commenting on your work individually. So just write down any questions you have, and we can help you answer that. But essentially, the big question we have overall is why did the world go back to war in 1950? Remember, we just had World War II. It just finished in 1945, and basically, London was unrecognisable. There were many countries across Europe that were completely flattened. Stalingrad, one of the cities in Russia, lost 1 million citizens. It's just an unforeseen number of casualties. So it's a big deal to go back to war 5 years after you've seen so much destruction. So it seems bizarre that actually it was very, very easy, it seemed, to slip into another worldwide conflict. So that's the bigger question we're going to answer when we look at this unit. But today, it's just a bit of an introduction. So we're going to think about that question overall, but not necessarily ready to answer it in the next few minutes. So here is where this lesson suddenly becomes a bit complex. Now, this is the first option for this map work task. If you do not have a printer, use this slide. If you do have a printer, I'm going to talk you through what you do on this slide. So using the yellow task boxes where you do not have a printer, what I'd like you to do is find this PowerPoint on the system and simply drag the labels to the right places. Okay, once you've done that, you'll need to save it and make sure your teacher can see it. You can screenshot it, however is easiest for you to attach it to Show My Homework or email it to your teacher. So that's what you need to do if you don't have a printer. So pause this video now. If you don't have a printer, and just drag and drop these labels into the right places, you'll find the map, this slide on Show My Homework. Now, if you do have a printer, and you can write it by hand, then I think that's a bit easier for you. So what I'd like you to do is print out this slide, and you can label the map using the keywords. Now this could be taking a ruler and drawing a line from the word to the right area, or it could be writing the right word just over the top of the map. So for example, I'm going to make it really easy and say North Korea. Well, okay, I'll just write North Korea over here. South Korea, easy, I'll just write it down here. Okay, or if you wanted, you could just draw a line with a ruler, obviously, straight from North Korea to the relevant bit, and South Korea to the relevant bit. Okay, so if you do have a printer, fabulous, print out this slide. I think it's probably better that way. And and do that this way, okay? So pause this video now. When you come back to me, we'll talk about the next section. Now, what I'd like you to do, I'm going to move my face over to the other side so you can see the questions, is I want you to find a little bit more about the Korean War that happened between 1950 and 1953. So we need to know what the conflict was, what it involved, who was involved, and what was fighting like. All right, so your 4 questions there really cover the main part of this unit, which really are the start of the war, the middle of the war, and the end of the war. It's not particularly imaginative, but there's quite a lot to it. So what you'll see is I've included a video in there for you. I want you to pause this video, open up this new YouTube video, as you've been doing recently, in a new tab, and answer the 4 questions that are written on the screen there. As I will do with the PowerPoint slide that I talked about a minute ago, I will also put this YouTube video in the comment section or within the main task body of your homework tasks. It will all be there for you. So pause this video that I'm talking to you on, open up this new YouTube video, and then answer the 4 questions there in your own words, please. Then the next task, I would like you to, this is where the research comes in, okay? So where you'll be finding out a little bit more about what has happened in North Korea and South Korea recently. So obviously we now know there's a demilitarized zone. So an area, I'm going to show you on the map here, in between the 2 countries, or DMZ or DMZ if you're American, which is where the North cannot go and the South cannot go. They have a big area across this border, all right, which nobody can access. Now, if you imagine there's a little building just here, we're going to call that the liaison building. Now, remember where its position is, because when we talk about this event that's just happened, North Korea blew up that office. It was on their land, fair enough, but they blew it up, and it was an office that was used for meetings, liaisons, to keep peace. Now, they said they did this because South Korea kept sending balloons over the border with messages attached, or dropping letters and throwing them over the border, so that the North Korean citizens could read them and then start to question their government and try and ignore their leaders. So they were kind of doing it as a retaliation, saying that South, you've gone too far and you're trying to push people away from us. So it was kind of a retaliation. So what I'd like you to do is to pause this video, open up this new one in a new tab, and then go ahead and find a little bit more about what's happened to that office. Once you've finished, come back to me and we're going to talk about this next section. So the next section is more thinking about whether there will be a 3rd World War. This is one more final YouTube video I'm going to get you guys to watch, other than this one, of course. Do you think there will be a 3rd World War? Well, these people think there will be, and they've gone through that in a little bit more detail. So I get lots of questions in history. Miss, will there be another war? Well, and I often say, well, it would take quite a lot to have another war, and I think it would be a war of such horrible consequences that I would quite comfortably say no. I would much, much, much rather nobody to have a war at all, and that's why I say no. However, some people disagree with me and think that it is possible and it is relevant. So have a look at this video and see what they say about the potential for another world war. And once you've finished, here is your task that I'd like you to do. Now, this can be quite creative, and I'm really, really looking forward to reading your work this week. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to imagine that you are a news reporter, just like one of the ones we've looked at today already, and you're telling me about what might happen in North Korea. So I've got 3 questions written in different coloured font there. I want you to choose one of those and write up a report, including the knowledge that you've learned today. So you can choose World War III imminent, it's going to happen soon, or Korea is a ticking time bomb. That's almost saying the same thing, that war might happen soon. The bottom one, the conflict between North Korea and South Korea is not a concern. That's more saying that, oh, actually, they're just bickering over the border. Then no one's fired a shot at each other for years, and there hasn't been a war for well over 50 years, so why would there be suddenly one now? I want you to have a look at those 3 questions, those 3 statements, titles, and choose which one you think is going to be the best. And then I want you to write up your own newspaper report telling me about that topic, okay? I've included here on the right-hand side a screenshot of the National Express. They wrote an article in August 2019, last year, and they told us about some fresh missiles that North Korea has issued. People in North Korea cheering as these missiles go up into the air and land in the Sea of Japan to a safe zone, no one harmed, or maybe some fish, which is obviously unfortunate, but it's not a human being massacred. But what we have here is North Korea testing short-range ballistic missiles, which aren't necessarily nuclear warheads, but they could have the capacity to carry nuclear weapons on them. So quite a dangerous situation for the South Koreans if they are the enemies of the North Koreans in August last year. So use this as a bit of an inspiration. I want you to write down your own newspaper report. Now, this video has been quite short because it's mostly designed to get you guys to research different areas. So this has got to take you about half an hour to write, and maybe about 5 to 10 minutes to plan as well. So look into it, find out what you're going to write, and then spend a decent amount of time set aside to writing up a really good report, which really captures the title. Now, as always, please do comment or send me or your teacher an email if you have any questions at all. I'm really looking forward to your work this week, boys. I think a lot of inventiveness and ingenuity in your answers will be really, really excellent. Good luck.